What's up, gamers? Kubz here. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I hope that you're having an awesome day. And today we're going to be taking a look at some YuGiOh Master Duel. I'm trying to get to Platinum rank, Platinum tier, whatever you want to consider it. And if you watched my previous video on YuGiOh Master Duel, you might remember that oftentimes my toughest opponent is the connection. And even when my opposing duelist is down to 200 hit points, I could still easily lose, even though I didn't really do anything wrong. So, can we make it to Platinum rank? We shall see. But again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try to do kind of like a play-by-play and talk through the decisions that are happening on screen. And yeah, hopefully this is a fun and interesting video as I struggle my way to Platinum. So, jumping into our first duel, I have the first turn. Now, typically with this deck, I like to go second. If you've played any other trading card games before, you might be familiar with the concept of a rush deck. I would very much say that the Elemental Heroes play as more of a rush deck. You want to kind of take out your opponent as quickly as possible. So hit hard, hit fast, and get out of there before they have too many turns to handle what you're throwing at them. Goes through a lot of resources kind of early on if you're not careful, and so that's kind of what I'm working with here. So to open the game, I use Elemental Hero Stratos. Awesome card. He allows me to get another hero from my deck. So I chose to pick Shadow Mist, and thankfully I started with a Polymerization in my hand. So I fused those two together to make Elemental Hero Sunrise, which is really kind of like the opening move of this deck for sure. I love that his name is Sunrise because it makes sense. Start everything with the rise of the sun. And he allows me to get a Miracle Fusion card added to my hand. I'm going to hold on to that until later, but I do use a Neos Fusion in order to create Rainbow Neos, who's going to be kind of like a big threat for my opponent to deal with. He's got 4,700 attack currently, and then as I end my turn, I placed a trap card known as Infinite Impermanence. Pretty solid card. It allows you to negate the effect of one effect monster on your opponent's side of the field. And then you can also, if the card has been set, you can kind of like block spells or traps in that column from being used. So I go to activate this card, and I actually showed this clip in the previous video. My opponent uses a quick play spell from their hand, and they kind of basically negate the effect of my trap card, which is quite interesting. And so then they're able to send my Rainbow Neos to the graveyard, and I'm like, oh crap, what the heck happened there? Now I should mention that previously when I fused for Elemental Hero Sunrise, by sending Shadow Mist to the graveyard, I was able to get a hero from my deck, and I chose Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos. Now Neos has an effect when the opponent goes to attack you, you can special summon it in defense position, and if you do so, then you get to pick a fusion, like a Neos based fusion card from your deck, or like a Polymerization if you wanted to, and it also cannot be destroyed by battle. Really great card that they added kind of recently. And so typically if I'm using Shadow Mist, it's one of the kind of like the go-tos for me. So the Blue Eyes White Dragon destroys my Sunrise. A little bit unfortunate, but we're going to be able to work with it hopefully. So I'm noticing here I just drew a Monster Reborn card. So I'm like, okay, how could I possibly use this? And what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to special summon Stratos back onto the field, because again, Stratos has that effect where I can get another hero monster from my deck. So that's going to allow me to do a number of things if I wanted to. There's quite a few good elemental heroes that are in my deck currently. I could also use the effect to destroy a spell or a trap card because I have Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos on the field, but I'm going to go ahead and pick another hero from my deck. Now, I don't know exactly what's going to happen next at this point. I'm guessing that I'll probably go with an elemental hero like or a hero rather, like Vision Hero Vion, because Vion would allow me to send a hero to the graveyard, as well as get a polymerization or fusion card. So we'll see if that's what I'm going to do here. Let's see. Oh, I thought about going for Liquid at a moment there. Liquid would allow me to summon him to the field and then dip into my graveyard and drag out another hero monster. So I could have maybe gone for like bringing Shadow Mist back onto the field, but I decided to go with Honest Neos. So Honest Neos, I can use his effect to boost one of my hero monsters by 2500 attack rating, which is again really strong card for this deck. Really kind of holds a lot of things together. So I'm going and using that Miracle Fusion that I got from my previous turn from Elemental Hero Sunrise, and I'm going to go ahead and send some fusion monsters as well as Shadow Mist from the graveyard to the banished section, and I'm going to make the new card Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. Now, Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, from what I can understand, when that card is sent to the graveyard, you can summon another elemental hero, I think from your deck. Not specifically sure where the card comes from, but I'm pretty sure that that's what the effect is. So here I'm using a card called Miracle Contact, similar to Miracle Fusion in that I can choose monsters from my hand, field, or graveyard, and I can shuffle them back into the deck in order to summon an elemental hero Neos fusion monster. So here I've gone with Brave Neos, and we're going to go ahead and try to do some damage to our opponent, who now has 11,000 life points. Quite scary at the time, but we're going to go ahead and do some damage, and when we destroy their Blue Eyes White Dragon, we actually do the attack of that monster to the opponent's health. So they just took a huge hit, brought them down to 5,100, and again attacking the monster that they just special summoned to kind of defend themselves. Now they were able to destroy a number of my monsters there with some sort of effect that happened, and I don't exactly know how, but I was able to use the effect of Neos Fusion to negate the Brave Neos from being destroyed. It wouldn't have really mattered because of the effect of Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. It would have allowed me to get Neos onto the field anyways, and so I would have won regardless there, I think. But that was pretty cool. So that was win number 1 on our way to Platinum rank. We need 3 more wins to go. So here, the opponent is starting first. I've got kind of an iffy hand, if you will. I don't really have any fusion cards that I can use right off the bat to get some of my stronger monsters, but we'll see how we work with this. And there we go. We draw Elemental Hero Stratos, and again, we know his effect allows me to dig into the graveyard, or sorry, dig into the deck and grab another hero monster. They're going to Ash Blossom, very common card to negate the effect, and thankfully it's not too big of a deal because we're able to use our, oops, no we're not. We could have used our EN Shuffle, which would allow me to send Stratos into the deck, I believe, and choose another hero monster in its place. But again, not necessarily a bad thing that we were able to draw out some of those resources. Use the Infinite Impermanence to negate the effect of my card because it was in the column. If I had used that spell or trap card in either of the columns to the left or the right of the center, then I actually could have gotten away with using that card. But since I put it right where I did, he was able to negate it with the effect of his Infinite Impermanence. So he's going to go ahead and attack me, and then he's going to put down a card in face down defense position. And we draw our King of the Swamp, I believe. Something like that. Yeah, King of the Swamp. I nailed it. That's cool. I wasn't sure if that was his name, but that's what it is. So he has an effect. Ash Blossom again. So he has an effect where I can get a polymerization from my deck by sending him to the graveyard. He uses his Ash Blossom to negate that effect, and so I'm like, alright, well, what can I do here? Well, I have Liquid in my hand. An Elemental Hero Liquid can dive into the graveyard and yank somebody out. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that Stratos back, and then Stratos is going to allow me to pick a card from my deck and add it to my hand. And I'm going to go with the Spirit of Neos so that I have a little bit of defensive maneuver in my back pocket if I need it. He's already done some damage to me, and I'm not quite sure at this point in time, you know, how I'm going to overwhelm the opponent with damage, so I want to be on the defensive. But I do have a Miracle Fusion card in my hand, which I can use to summon a fusion monster. I'm going to go with the Elemental Heroes. Gosh, what's his name? I should know this guy's name. Absolute Zero. That's what it is. Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. Really awesome card. If he leaves the field of battle, then I get to destroy all of my opponent's monsters. Really powerful for like a defensive maneuver. Again, that was kind of like the main reason that I chose that card over some of the other options that I had. And then I'm able to attack his monster, and Stratos is going to attack to see if I can defeat that defense position monster. Now here I'm using a Link summon where I'm combining those two monsters in order to make a different monster, bring that onto the field, and this monster's name is Isolde of the Two Warriors or something like that. Basically, I need to take two warrior cards and smash them together, and by doing so I can activate the effect where I can pick another warrior monster out of my deck. And so that's going to allow me to take those two cards and make one other card, and I'm going to pick Vision Hero Vion. Now Vion, I might have mentioned previously, I could use his effect to not only send one hero monster to my graveyard, but I can also use it to get a polymerization or a fusion card from my deck. So pretty strong effects. Now here I'm using that Spirit of Neos that I had taken in my first turn. Came in handy there. He realizes that he can't destroy that monster. I'm allowed to get my Neos Fusion card, which again, really powerful card because you don't really have to do anything to use it. You just play the card. As long as you have the monsters in your hand, deck, or on the field, you can use that fusion. Now it does have a secondary effect where you can't, I'm pretty sure you can't special summon after playing that card. It might be that you can only special summon heroes from the extra deck that are fusion monsters, but I'm pretty sure that it's like you can't do any special summons. So you want to kind of end your turn with that card if you're going to use it, if you're going to do any other special summoning. So here I'm going to turn Spirit of Neos into attack position. I've used Vion to send a card to the graveyard, which I believe allowed me to get Honest Neos added to my hand, and then I used the secondary effect to get the polymerization card that I wanted. And then here I'm realizing, okay, what can I fuse? I've got a lot of options here. I don't necessarily want to use the heroes that are on the board if I don't have to. It would be nicer if I could fuse from the cards that are in my hand. And so here I'm like, okay, nope, can't do that guy. If I tried this one, it's not necessarily going to work out. I don't necessarily want to use Honest Neos or the Spirit of Neos unless I have to. Here I decide to go with Vision Hero Adoration. Now, he's an interesting card. The reason that I have this card in my extra deck is because the only requirement to fuse it is to have two hero monsters. And most of the monsters in my deck are hero monsters. There's maybe 4 that are not. So as long as I have 2 hero monsters, I can make Adoration. And Adoration allows me to decrease an opponent's attack by the attack of one of my monsters or something like this. So pretty good card to have. It's not always entirely useful, but in this situation it did happen to be. Now, I didn't necessarily need to do any of that because I had the Neos Fusion in my hand, and when I use the Neos Fusion, I actually end up sending Adoration off the board into the graveyard, and I clean the opponent's monster section. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and do some damage. We've got our Spirit of Neos. He's going to attack, and I'm going to use the effect of Honest Neos to boost his attack up to 5,000, and then I also had the Rainbow Neos there, and the opponent decided, hey, you got me. GG's. So that was duel number 2. We got 2 more to go, and we're at Platinum rank. Feeling pretty good about things. Here we are. We're going second. Whether I chose to go second because I won the coin flip, or they chose to go first because they won the coin flip, not exactly sure. But either way, we're going second. That's really where we'd like to be. So happy about that. Now, I've got the hand trap with the infinite impermanence. And a lot of times I don't know what their strategy is going to be, but I'll just kind of use it to negate the effect. It looks like when he normal summons this card, he can special summon some other card. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to do like a link summon or a synchro summon or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that and negate the effect. And that pretty much stopped his turn dead in its tracks. So that was pretty great to have that card in my initial draw. Could have gone elsewhere. But that was super helpful. So here, I think I'm having a little bit of lag issues because I tried to play my Neospatian Grand Mole. It took a little bit of time to do so. All of these clips have been in 2 times speed, so you can imagine I was waiting there for a little bit trying to get that card to play. Go ahead and make a fusion of Elemental Hero Sunrise using the cards that I had. Get the Miracle Fusion, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw that out and grab Esquerdito, whatever this Elemental Hero's name is. I'm going to get him onto the field. So now I've got 3 heroes, and my good pal Neospatian Grand Mole would be able to just pop that guy right back into his hand. But instead I'm going to use the effect of Sunrise, which I haven't gotten to use yet in this video. But when I make an attack with another hero monster, I can use Elemental Hero Sunrise to destroy one card that's on the field. So I use that effect to destroy his little race car that he had there, and then all my heroes attack. He's got 300 hit points left, and we're in pretty good shape moving forward. Definitely got him on the ropes at this point. So there he goes. He plays another junk synchron card, which is going to allow him to special summon some cards. He's going to do a link summon, it looks like. Oh, no, synchro summon. I'm not super familiar with synchro summons, but he's moving and grooving. He's doing what he can to get back in the game here. I really like this deck because one of the things that I mentioned in my previous video is I don't feel like I stall out very often. Now, if I've used up a lot of resources, like you can see right now, I don't have any cards in my hand. So really, unless I draw into something good, if he was to destroy all my monsters this turn, I could be in hot water. So in that sense, it's like like I mentioned, I've got to hit fast, I've got to hit hard, and I want to do it earlier rather than later. I've had some matches go the distance, and when I do, I've got to be a little bit more strategic about using my resources. But in this one, it was just like, hey, we're gonna overwhelm them with the force, and we're gonna do some damage early on. And he's gonna activate some effect here. See what's going on. Activates another effect. He's moving and grooving, and then accidentally or intentionally destroys themselves. So he did 700 damage to his own life points. He only had 300. Can't take 700. So there was win number 3. In pretty good shape. I was feeling really good about things. I hadn't had any connection issues at this point. Just kind of getting a 3-win streak, trying to get to platinum. And here we are, jumping into like the middle of a game. I think it's just at its turn 6 that just ended. So you can see I've got 6,200 hit points. He's got 7,100 hit points. You might be saying, Kubz, why aren't you showing us the full game? Like, what happened to this one? And, well, could you guess maybe what's going to happen? I'll give you a moment to guess. Did you guess that it would be a connection failure? Because if you did, you're the winner. You're the best. You're the best winner, smartest big brain gamer out there. Good guess. So, breaks our streak. We need one more to get to platinum. We'll see if we can do it. Not sure, you know, how much more I can take this abuse of these connection failures, but it is, you know, it's part of the game. Gotta kind of just deal with it. Now, thankfully, this game isn't too intense when you're playing it, but like, it's the kind of game that you can kind of be playing and also doing something else. So like, I'll sit there and I'll watch like YouTube videos or, you know, surf the internet, whatever it might be, when it's not my turn, if I don't feel like I need to pay too much attention to what's going on. So it's not like I feel too bad afterwards, but like, there's definitely a part of me that's like, man, I wish that these games would go a little bit better, because I would have probably, you know, already made my way to platinum rank by that point. So again, we're going second in this match. I like to go second, so I'm happy with where I'm at. I've got some pretty decent cards in my hand. I've got the King of the Swamp. That'll allow me to get a polymerization if I want to. I've also got the Neos Fusion, and that'll allow me to just special summon a Neos Fusion monster. I've got Spirit of Neos, so I've got a little bit of defense if I need to. And then I've also got the Miracle Fusion card, so if I can use, like, fuse any monsters together, then I can use that Miracle Fusion and make a second monster off of the monsters that were already sent to the graveyard. I also drew the, I think it's called Performapal Trump Witch, and Trump Witch is a cool card. I can play it in my spell and trap section as a, I think it's called a pendulum monster or pendulum summon, and if I put it there, then I can actually fuse two cards that are on the field. But I can also summon that card and then tribute that card in order to get a polymerization from my deck. So two good effects there, and that's a card that has really been kind of like a really useful support card for this deck, because I do so much fusion summoning. And if I haven't already mentioned it, I definitely mentioned it in my previous video, but with this specific deck, I don't use any duplicates of any cards. So I've only got one polymerization card in my deck. I do have another card called Vision Fusion, which allows me to summon using hero monsters. I can create a fusion hero monster. And I've also got a card called Fusion Substitute, which acts very much like polymerization, but the cards have to be on the field. So a little bit different, but still super useful. And so again, it just adds a extra element of like challenge and strategy to the decisions that I'm making while I'm playing. So here we used King of the Swamp, sent him to the graveyard, got our polymerization, fused two monsters together in order to make Esquire Dao. I'm probably butchering that name, but he's the Dark Elemental Hero fusion monster. And then I used that Miracle Fusion card that I was talking about in order to make Absolute Zero. Again, Absolute Zero is going to allow me to destroy all the monsters on my opponent's side of the field if it's sent away. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that Neos Fusion card, and that's going to allow me to create Rainbow Neos. And then I still have my normal summon, so I'm going to go ahead and throw out Neos Alias, and I'm going to just go full force. We're going to attack this guy. Hopefully he doesn't have anything that can just destroy all my monsters or anything like that. We'll see how this goes, but we're going to use our Rainbow Neos to attack. When our opponent's monster attacks, you can use Send to the Graveyard. So it looks like his effect would have destroyed my Rainbow Neos, but I can use the effect of Neos Fusion to kind of negate the first time that card would be destroyed. So I'm still allowed to attack, and now it's just kind of using the rest of my heroes to clean things up. Unless I have a connection failure. Nope. Good shape. Attack, attack, attack. And there it is. We got victory number 4. We are now platinum rank, gamers. Wait, what's that? You're saying there's a rank after platinum? There's a diamond rank? Oh no. How foolish. I have been and always will be Kubz. Peace and love, gamers.